YouTube stopped. We are back. We're back and we're better. Kidding. Okay, let's do this. Let's see. Tortoiseshell glasses is in like my eyeglasses. So those are from Garrett Light, California. It's a very, very bougie eyeglasses brand, and I saved up for a very long time to be able to afford those because they're the lightest, most comfortable glasses I've ever owned. They are not affordable by any means, genuinely. But they are very good, and I did shell out, like, when I had my corporate job, I think I spent like a very good chunk of my paycheck on those glasses because I wear them every day and I don't even feel that they are on my face. And for me, it's like I'm very sensitive to like anything extra on my body. Okay, so I just want to make sure that I'm not like, oh my gosh, they're Garrett Light, California, without like an explanation. Like, no, they're not affordable at all. But they are good, and I do recommend them. If you can afford them, like, definitely get them because they're super light, and so like sunglass like attachment to them, which I have as well. Because like genuinely, they're very comfortable. I wear them all the time. I can feel them on my face. I'm normally very sensitive with what I can on my face. Like I just get, like I get like my ears hurt and all this stuff. So if you want glasses that are gonna be super like super seamless, yes, those are absolutely amazing. Lindbergh glasses also have actually, I'm going to recommend you two companies that you can go to for glasses that are so seamless you're not even going to feel like you're wearing them. One is Lindbergh and one is Garrett Light. But Garrett Light is more like Lindbergh, I feel like looks a little more, Lindbergh looks a little more classic, and Garrett Light has more like funky stuff. Okay, so Ukraine's the song. Hello from Odessian in Bucharest. Hope you're having a great evening despite the news. Hi, I'm having a pretty decent evening. I'm getting ready for a very nice guest. And Lauren, hi. And Masha, she's a також designer. Yeah, if you need any advice, please let me know. I am a like at this point, when I'm going to be applying for jobs again, I'm going to be applying for a team lead. So I would be like more like a creative director of the UX field. So yeah, if you need any advice, let me know. Okay, so what are we going to play today? I think that we're going to play Scriabin again, just because I really, really, really like Scriabin. And there is this one song that I really like. This one. It's called Old Photographs. And it's much better, in my opinion, than Photographs by, what's its face, by that band that no one likes. Абсолютно все одно, не маючи нічого мати все. За не купити тільки час, всіх нас методично поділив. Когось він напустив, когось підняв, а я на кого взагалі забив. Старі фотографії на стіл розкладив. Наші історії смішні розкаже. Справжнім друзям не забудь подзвони. Бо добре чи зле з тобою завжди вони. Дешеве пиво і сухе вино, робимо щасливими людьми. І ніби чудо панське радіо, нам відкривало той незнаний світ. No, I'm astigmatic. Залишився тільки цей альбом, а мрії розлетілися як дим. Старі фотографії на стіл розклади. Історії смішні розкаже. З дорожнім друзям не забудь подзвони. Бо добре чи зле з тобою завжди вони. Грали примітивну музику, так чесно, що пропила би досить. Чекали, що прийде такий момент, коли під ноги впаде цілий світ. Годинник вперед дороги рахував, і кожен маятник такий зробив. І тільки у альбомі всіх підряд ми були такими, як тоді. Старі фотографії на стіл розкладив. Дитячі історії смішні розкаже. І справжнім друзям не забудь подзвони. Бо добре чи зле з тобою завжди вони. Ой. Забудь подзвони. Чи зла з тобою завжди вони. You idealize Bandera, don't you? What's up, homie? You idealize Putin, don't you? Okay, so let me, I also want to do another one, and it's called Prom Night, and then we're going to do the news. I really love that song. It's also Scriabin, and I haven't heard his songs in such a long time, but this one is just so good, and I'm going to try to look up the translation of the lyrics so I can tell you, but it's so good. It's so good. I hope you guys like it too.
Царі тихо не бігають діти, на стінах шарики і на столах квіти, і не насваряться помаду вчителі. Сьогодні можна, сьогодні випускний. Останній раз одягнеш формулі, поплач останній раз, танцює зі сльозами строї. Тільки раз в каторці ти покуриш з фізруком. Перший раз до ранку не повернешся додому. По-дорослому сьогодні виглядаєш. Закінчив школу, але дечого не знаєш. Дивись уважно в обличчя цих людей. Не будеш бачити багато з них в цей день. Останній раз одягнеш формулі, поплач останній раз, танцює зі сльозами строї замуж. Тільки раз в каторці ти покуриш з фізруком. І перший раз до ранку
Hi! Hi!
останній раз.
Останній раз.
Останній раз.
Останній вальс. Hi! No, I don't work as a spy.
Ранкове сонце не спішиться підійматись. Комусь вставати, а комусь лягати спати. А ти гуляєш з друзями по місту. Прийшов той час прощатися з дитинством.
I'll translate this song in a second. It's a very, very good song. It's an incredible song. I'll translate it in a second.
Останній раз одягнеш форму і поплаче останній вальс. Танцює зі сльозами строгий завуч тільки раз. В каптиці ти покуриш свій зроком і перший раз до ранку не повернешся додому. Останній вальс. Останній раз. Останній вальс.
Okay. So the lyrics to the song is called Prom Night. And in Ukraine, during your prom, like you will usually have it at like a restaurant and your parents are going to be there, all of your teachers are going to be there, like all your classmates are going to be there. And this is like normally the first official time that you're like allowed and encouraged not to come back home until the sun rises, because like this is basically like your baptism into adulthood, right? And all of your teachers are not your teachers anymore, so you can like talk to them in a very different fashion than you normally would. Like normally you don't have like friends as teachers. They're like, you know, figures of authority. They're more like, you see them more as like, we very often call them Mr. and Mrs. instead of like, you know, I don't know. It's like a whole respect thing. And so the lyrics of this song start with, the gym room is quiet. There are no kids running around. There are balloons on the wall and flowers on the table. Are not going to be yelling at you for wearing lipstick, because also in Ukrainian schools, like you can't really wear lipstick if it's like red. Like your teachers are gonna give you a lot of like crap for it. So today no one's gonna be yelling at you for wearing lipstick. Today you can. Today it's prom night. So this is the last time you're gonna wear your uniform and you are going to cry. This is the last waltz that your like Zauch is like somebody underneath the headmaster, and they usually enforce order and stuff like that, and they usually teach like physics or algebra or geometry. They usually teach something like important. So it's like the last waltz is going to be danced by the strict Zauch. This is the first time that you're going to be smoking behind, that you're going to smoke a cigarette behind, like Kopterka is like this place where usually in the school, they will keep like brooms and mops and stuff like that. But so gym teachers in Ukraine quite often smoke cigarettes in large amounts. And so this is like, this is very funny because some students also smoke in school in Eastern Europe. A lot of people smoke cigarettes. And so this is like quite weird, right? To smoke a cigarette with your PE teacher. And so this lyric says, you have one time in your life where you're going to smoke a cigarette with your PE teacher, and it's the prom night. And that's very true. And it's the first time that you're not going to come back home until the sun rises. You look like an adult today. You're done with school, but you don't know a lot. Look in the eyes of the people around you deeply, because today is the last day you're going to see a lot of them. So the next one says, the morning sun is not in a hurry to rise. Someone is waking up and someone is going to sleep. And you are walking around the city with your friends. And this is the time to say goodbye to your child. The song came out around, like, I think right before my prom, and it was such a I could relate to it so much because also I was going to the United States, and that lyric that said like, you know, look into the eyes of people around you, because today is the last time in your life that you're going to see a lot of them. And that's so true because I haven't spoken to a lot of my classmates since. Thank you. Okay, so I think we're ready for the news. And today we're going to start with this. Ukraine is negotiating with Turkey and the UN on the export of Ukrainian grain through ports. Now 22 million tons of grain are blocked in the country. Therefore, Ukraine is interested in taking it out, although it will be difficult in some places to implement this, but it is possible. Indeed, we are currently negotiating with the Turkish side and with the UN, our representatives responsible for the safety of grain exit from our ports. But it is very important for someone to guarantee the safety of the ships of certain states that will come to us to load this or that food product, except Russia, which we do not trust, the president of Ukraine said. And he added, Ukraine is not wasting time, and we are working on different ways, both by railway and river, for the export of our grain. We're increasing this export daily. Invaders bombed another educational institution in Kharkiv. At 2 a.m., Russian troops launched a missile attack on one of the educational institutions of the Saltovsky district. The building is partially damaged from a rocket nearby. A funnel. There were no casualties, thankfully. In Bilohorivka, the Ukrainian military repelled the assault of the enemy. The occupiers withdrew. The head of Luhansk Army, Serhiy Haidai. The main efforts of invaders are focused on establishing control over the territory of Luhansk region with the administrative borders. The invaders continue to shell the settlements of the region. The destruction continues. The invaders are lying about opening schools from September 1st, the rapid resumption of communications. The invaders are already looking for activists and families of the military collaborators to help with this. Ukraine wants to invest $130 billion in energy modernization as part of the country's post-war reconstruction plan. Yesterday, this plan was presented at the Conference of Donors and Partners in Lugano. The key project is the construction of new green energy facilities. Ukraine is going to sign the Green Deal, just by the way. Ukraine wants to attract investments to build at least 30 GW of renewable energy capacity over 10 years until 2032. For comparison, now the capacity of green energy in Ukraine is about 9 GW. The development of green technologies will allow the country to become a key supplier of clean energy to Europe. Negotiations between Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov and the president of Mongolia in Ulaanbaatar. Nothing out of the ordinary except for the swastika. Photos of the negotiations were published by the representative of the Russian Foreign Ministry, Maria Zakharova, and propagandist Solovyov. The second even tried to explain that this is not a swastika, but a fragment of a hieroglyph from the Japanese-Russian Educational Dictionary of Hieroglyphs. That's just if you look closely, then it is not very similar to the hieroglyph. So, just like FYI, if you guys want to see, there's a teensy tiny little swastika. It's just like, no big deal, you know? No big deal. Just a normal day, you know, nothing out of ordinary. Wales and Scotland allocate $100 million for military assistance to Ukraine, British Prime Minister Boris Johnson said. The governor of the Russian Kursk and Bryansk regions accused Ukraine of shelling their villages. In the Kursk region, allegedly from the side of Ukraine, artillery shelling was carried out on the border settlements of the Glushkovsky district. The village of Markova, the village of Totkina, the village of Popova Ležachi. Homes were damaged in places. There is no electricity in Totkina and Popova Ležachi. Consequences in the photo. This morning, Ukraine fired artillery at the 18 shots recorded. There were no casualties, said Alexander Bogomaz, governor of the governor of the Bryansk region. So this is what it looks like. Also, guys, if you want to jump over to YouTube, I'm also simultaneously streaming this on YouTube. I know some of you prefer YouTube. The name on YouTube is the same as here. And I do highly appreciate when you guys also watch this on YouTube because it gives me watch hours. And also, if you don't follow me on YouTube yet, please do. I do post a lot of, all of my streams are recorded there. Also, Paper Crane, thank you so much. Obrigado. Okay. Appeal of the first to the soldiers of the armed forces of the Russian Federation. We all need to stop the war together and bring real freedom to Russia. You're expected at home and you must return home victorious. It is possible to win only by fighting for the truth, which is on the side of free Russia and the whole world. The Putin regime must be overthrown. Stop tolerating a tyrant. Join us in the legion. Our cause is right. Putin will be destroyed. Victory will be ours. L for Russia, for freedom. Well, it's not just Putin. It is the entire administration, also the people, and stuff like that. And it's just really, like, I wish, like, I admire the work of, well, I don't admire, but I appreciate the work of the Legion for Free Russia. But I just wish that when they addressed this, they weren't just knocking it down to being just Putin, and they were kind of like addressing, you know, Russians and everything that Russians have been doing to aid Putin. But yeah. Japan imposed sanctions against another 90 individuals and organizations from Russia and Belarus and banned the import of gold. The sanctions list included, in particular, Deputy Prime Minister of the Russian Federation, Dmitry Grigorenko, Vladimir Salda, the Russian appointed head of the military civilian administration of the Kherson region, Russian cellist Sergei Roldugin, and relatives of Alexei Mordashov, chairman of the board of directors of Severstal PJSC and Power Machines PJSC, and others. From September 5th, the provision of accounting, auditing, consulting, and trust services to the Russian Federation will also be prohibited. Also, I wanted to address you. I saw that yesterday, a couple of you a couple of people that follow me have reposted a video about, it was like in a Russian elevator where like a Russian YouTuber put a portrait of Putin in the elevator in Moscow in just like a regular building. And people were coming in and they were like, oh my God, they were so annoyed of seeing him there. And people were saying that, oh my gosh, look, this is what Russians really think about Putin. And this video, because there's a hidden camera, shows their real reaction. They all hate him, right? Okay, first of all, that video is old. It's not from the wartime. Second of all, it doesn't show their real opinion of Putin, okay? Portraits of Putin have been stapled everywhere. At some point, there were so many of them, you know, that it's like, imagine your president, even if you like him, right? Let's say you like, I don't know, Biden, Trump, whoever. Imagine you were walking into your residential building. Imagine there were portraits of this dude everywhere in your city, on billboards, on all medical facilities, like everywhere, right? Everywhere. And then you walk into your home and in your fucking elevator, there is another portrait of your president. Like, you like your president, right? But you're just so fucking tired of it. Like, it's, you know, it doesn't matter whether you like them or you don't like them. Nobody wants to see their president's portraits everywhere in their city. So it's like one of those things where people are taking that video and being like, look, the real Russian opinion of Putin. Like, no, it's the Russian opinion of the fact that portraits of Putin are literally everywhere and in the elevator. It's like, please guys, I beg you, when you watch things about Russia and these things that make Russians look so good, please take it with a grain of salt. You can't trust anything that comes out of Russia. Absolutely anything. Like, you cannot trust anything that comes out of Russia. Russia is very good at propaganda. Russia is very good at releasing things when convenient. So it's like, if you think that this might have been just a YouTuber who posted it, it could have been the Russian propaganda machine, you know, like they do things. They're very, very calculated. They're very good. They're incredibly good. So please, 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 please stop buying into these things. I beg you, please. And by that, I'm not saying like, oh, you're gullible. I'm just saying that it's like genuinely like Russian propaganda is so good that you won't even see when it's propaganda, because you're like, oh, but they're like showing that Putin is bad. Why would it be propaganda? Well, because the whole world wants Russians to think Putin is bad. If Russians think Putin is bad, maybe people will loosen sanctions in order to not affect poor Russians, you know? Do I help people in the front line of the war? Well, I mean, yes, we do a lot of fundraising. Yeah. Zelensky, The Economist's 26th Annual Government Roundtable. Europe is now united in a way that is not that it has not been united for many decades. Even 5 years ago, it was impossible to imagine that Europe would achieve such unification. Many discussions were held about how far the division of Europe would go. Ukraine corrected it, and we have to work in even greater unity. Europe is a global entity, it should be so. And this can only happen with Ukraine. The map of the restoration of Ukraine regions by the West. Which countries will restore the regions of Ukraine that suffered during the war? Germany, Chernihiv, Canada, Sumy, USA and Turkey, Kharkiv, Czech Republic, Finland and Sweden, Luhansk, Belgium, Mykolaiv, Sweden and the Netherlands, Kherson, Switzerland, Odessa, Norway, Kirovograd, Austria, Zaporizhia, Poland and Italy, Donetsk. Oh, Italian Polish Donetsk. I like it. Can we also get some of that Italian architecture invested in there? Because I would love it. Can we just can we work that magic? You know, I quite like some cities. Like we could take some inspiration from Verona. I would love that. Rimini. What about Rimini? I mean, I know that Rimini is a coastal town, but can we do a mix of Rimini and Rapallo and just put it in Donetsk, but not on the coast because there is no coast, but there is a river. I would love that. Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu during the conference call made a lot of big statements that do not correspond to reality. We collected the main ones. The special military operation will continue until the tasks set by the Supreme Commander-in-Chief are fully completed. Oh, you want me to open, huh? Let me show you. There you go. This is what's been hiding under my shirt. I opened it for you. The main priorities of the Russian Federation during the special operation are the preservation of the life and health of the military, the safety of the civilian population. Conscripts are not sent to a zone of special military operation. Ensuring peaceful life in the territories controlled by Russian troops will continue. Mine danger has been eliminated in the water area of the port of Mariupol. The Russian Federation is making every effort to ensure the safety of navigation in the Black and Azov Seas. 2 humanitarian corridors for ships have been created. Part of the weapons supplied by the West to Ukraine goes to the Middle East and also ends up on the black market. What? Yeah, because we have so much weapons. We have so much weapons that we don't need anymore. And we have so many of them that we're just also sending them to the Middle East because, just an over influx of weapons. Yes, the Russian Federation. So, according to the European war experts, the Russian invaders captured the village of Klinovo southeast of Bakhmut. It is also reported the armed forces of Ukraine have apparently regained control of Pravdan and Myrny, but the Russian forces are trying to regain control and are launching a counteroffensive. The information requires confirmation from the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. Aftermath of rocket attack on Shostka in the Buda region. Strike fell on one of the enterprises. At night and in the morning, the invaders also fired on Bilopilia, Yunakova, Shostka, Shalyhina, Seredinobuda communities. More than 60 shots, rocket strikes, mortar shots, self-propelled guns, etc. Warehouses of Russian invaders are on fire in Donetsk. The invaders in Donbass will have less weapons. Yay! So basically, all their warehouses are on fire, and the one thing we love watching is Russian warehouses on fire, right? So I shall show you what it looks like. Burn, burn bright. Burn, burn bright. Горе, горе, ясно, щоб не погасло. No, this is not Kyiv. This is Russian warehouses burning in Donetsk. Zelensky about Ukraine winning. It is clear to everyone in the world that Ukraine will win. It's only a matter of time. This is a question, unfortunately, of the losses we suffer. primarily human. This is a question of modern weapons, which we must get and will definitely get. Before I show you these photos, actually, I wanted to say something. So remember the guy who is one of the Ukrainian fighters who fought on the front lines, lost his leg, and now is training because he wants to go back to the front lines? I'm going to call a physical therapist, and I'm going to call this one guy that my mom knows who is in the United States, and he's been working with veterans of the war since 2014, and he's been bringing guys here in order to get fit for prosthetics, and he's been raising money to fit these guys into prosthetics. And so I want to reach out to him, and I want to collaborate with him in order to get a prosthetic for that man. And so I want to raise funds for a prosthetic for that guy. So what do you guys think about that? Would you guys be interested in a fundraiser like that? And provided that I don't know which prosthetics are good or anything like that, Moroslav does, and he's been doing this and working closely with literally veterans of the war since the beginning of the invasion in 2014. So he knows exactly what these guys need. He knows the doctors, he knows physical therapists, he knows companies that manufacture these prosthetics. My mom is going to put me in touch with him. Again, I absolutely forgot that I have this connection. I absolutely forgot that I have this connection because my mom, I had to pick something up from him once. But he's incredible. I'm going to try and get him to come maybe on live with us and talk a little bit about what his organization does, because they have been doing this since 2014. And I really want to get in touch with that soldier. And I really want to get him a new leg because the man is incredible. But so, okay, with that said, these are the photos. These are the photos that Zelensky posted. And I'm also going to reach out to Arvosis and see if he would want to get in on that fundraiser. I'm Ukrainian and I'm fighting for my freedom is the t-shirt. Actually, I really like this t-shirt. Alrighty, so British intelligence update. Russia's relatively rapid capture of Lysychansk extends its control across virtually all of the territory of Luhansk Oblast, allowing it to claim substantiated progress against the policy objective presented as the purpose of the war, namely, unlike previous phases of the war, achieved reasonably effective coordination between at least two groupings of forces. The central grouping, likely commanded by General Colonel Alexander Lapin, and the southern grouping, probably under the recently appointed General Sergei Surovikin. Ukrainian forces have likely largely withdrawn in good order in line with existing plans. The Ukrainian held areas of Severodonetsk, Lysychansk consisted of a bulge of salient which Russians could attack from three sides. There is a realistic possibility that Ukrainian forces will now be able to fall back to a more readily defendable, straightened front line. The battle for the Donbass has been characterized by slow rates of advance and Russia's massed employment of artillery, leveling towns and cities in the process. The fighting in Donetsk Oblast will almost certainly continue in this manner. Also, something just dawned on me. Iron Curtain, are you still here? Rather, Natalia, are you still here? Привіт, привіт, привіт. Героям слава. I don't know if she's still here, but I actually wanted to address something pertaining to the whole like John Arvosis, to the John Arvosis situation. Okay, well, I don't know if I don't think she's still here. I mean, I'm going to DM her, but I'm also going to say this. So, one of the things I know that she must be upset and she must be hurt by the fact that someone like doesn't like her and someone says that her information is not real or she's a Kremlin like troll or whatever. Like obviously it's hurtful, right, for someone who is in that position. But here's the thing: by going after John Aravosis and posting these things and calling him a propagandist, right? The people who support this are not thinking that she's calling him a propagandist because she is like hurt or she doesn't like him, right? They think she's calling him a propagandist because he's wrong on his information. And yes, as she mentioned, he has done a lot for Ukraine and he has done a lot in order to bring awareness to Ukraine. And by shit talking him, essentially, you're turning those people away from him who would be looking at Ukrainian news. And they're now discrediting things that he's saying just based on the fact that they like you more than him and they're not listening to him anymore. Effectively, that brings more attention to Russia, less attention to Ukraine, and that discredits one of the biggest news sources about Ukraine out there. Because there is Aaron Parnas, there is Mila, and there is John Aravosis, who have the largest amount of following out of Ukrainian creators. And so I know that this is unfortunate and I know that this is hurtful, but it's a very personal, petty argument, right? Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what somebody says about you, right? You can just move on from it. And I want to say this to Natalia, like I wish that she was here. And I will like DM her, watch for her the next time that she comes over here. But all I want to say is that at the end of the day, it is damaging Ukraine. It is not damaging Aravosis. It is damaging Ukraine. And it is damaging for those people who follow Ukraine. And so effectively, she's trying to like bring him down, but she's bringing down one of the largest news sources about Ukraine. And at the end of the day, like, I know she's hurt, but it's like, as a Russian, guys, I'm asking you, if you're a Russian, put your feelings aside. Put your personal feelings aside. It's not about you right now. Somebody calls you a bot, somebody calls you not truthful, somebody calls you propaganda, somebody calls you whatever. Put your feelings aside. This is that time. This is the time where you just put your feelings aside and where you step over your ego and your personal hurt for a greater cause. Because at the end of the day, your online presence is not helping Russia much, and it's also not helping Ukraine by any means. I mean, like, I'm saying this objectively. Like, I'm not saying John is right or wrong. John knows what I think. And I'm pretty sure you guys know what I think. But this is not the point right now. The point right now is thinking objectively, right? Whether someone's right or wrong. It doesn't matter if they're right or wrong, right? If you're a Russian creator and somebody who's Ukrainian who talks about Ukraine said that you're Russian propaganda, please stop bringing them down. Put your feelings aside, because at the end of the day, your followers who were following Ukraine and helping, if they like you more than they like that person, at the end of the day, they're literally just going to stop watching that person. They're going to stop listening to news about Ukraine. And at the end of the day, most of the creators that speak about Ukraine will talk about Russia once in a blue moon because they genuinely don't care. So the damage is bigger by making those people hate that creator, and the damage is bigger to Ukraine than it is to that creator, especially if it's a creator that big. Okay, Australia canceled duties on imports from Ukraine. Massive shelling of Slavyansk and Kramatorsk today.
пидорасы ебашут.
Also, like, here's the thing. I've been accused of profiteering off of this war by Russian creators. A few, right? And there was a Russian creator who was like, oh, these Ukrainian creators who, like, you know, have merch lines and like ask for money and stuff, that money is not going to Ukraine. Do I care? No, because I know that person is wrong. I did post evidence of that money going to Ukraine and to where I said it was going, because that's important to me. I was accused of something and I didn't know, right? Because I just like, why? Just because you wouldn't, right? So that was important for me to just be like, okay, well, you have this accusation. Here's the proof that it's wrong. But you know, I let it go, because at the end of the day, I don't give a fuck what Russian creators think about me or what they say. And one of them particularly still, like, I still get messages from people being like, oh, did you know that this person has been like saying this about you and that about you? I don't know. And I don't care to know. Because at the end of the day, if like this person's main like objective is to shit on Ukrainian creators, well, then that gives you a perspective on who they are, right? But that's the thing, that I feel like all of these like beefs and like petty things, it's like, it's not worth it. At the end of the day, like, it's not worth it. I've gotten a lot of hate from like followers of that person too, that try to like DM me, that find me on Instagram, and they're just like, oh, like this and that, right? But I just delete it. I delete it and I block them. And I think that that's a better approach to things like that. Okay, market in Slaviansk after shelling by Russian invaders. Russia's losses are up to 115,000 killed and wounded. Advisor to the head of the presidential office, Mikhailo Podolyak. According to him, the army units lost 36,000 people and private military companies up to 12,000 people. The rest are wounded. From the military units that took part in the capture of the Luhansk region, 25 to 35% of manpower remained. The court banned the Communist Party of Ukraine. The decision was taken by the 8th Appeal Administrative Court of Lviv. Now the property of the party, funds, and other assets of regional, city, district organizations will become the property of the state. The Russian army attacked the port infrastructure of Kyiv and Chernomorsk with X-59 missiles during the day. Speaker of the Odessa Regional Military Administration, Serhiy Brachuk. All 3 missiles were destroyed by our air defense forces. The central market of Slaviansk came under Russian shelling. The head of the Donetsk army, at least 2 dead and 7 injured. Yeah, the 36K does not include Wagner. This is just Russian military. Armed forces of Ukraine in the Kherson region hit from helicopters on the accumulation of the military of the Russian Federation in the Pravdino region and destroyed the warehouse of fuel and lubricants, OC South. Also yesterday, the armed forces of Ukraine repelled a counterattack by a reinforced enemy platoon in the Lozove area in the Kherson region. Their desperate attempt was unsuccessful. Enemy losses were BTR-82 armored personnel carriers, 2 killed and 5 wounded. Russia began to withdraw military equipment from the Finnish border after the announcement of Finland's entry into NATO. Satellite images published by the Finnish YLE show that most of the military equipment has already been removed from Unit 3466-7 in the village of Alakurti near Murmansk, which is 70 kilometers from the Finnish border. We're talking about more than 100. Russia is stealing Ukrainian gas. Since the occupation of Crimea, Russia has stolen 13 billion cubic meters of Ukrainian gas. Photo of the day. Mariupol, center of Europe. Children swim in a puddle because the benefits of civilization from the Russian invaders look exactly like this. This is a puddle of dirt. With bacteria from dead bodies. And this is what people are doing in order to cool themselves and in order to shower, basically. The Netherlands allocates 200 million euros more to help Ukraine through the IMF. This was stated by the Minister of Foreign Trade and Development Cooperation of the Netherlands, Lizzie Schrijnmacher, at a conference of the restoration of Ukraine in Lugano on Tuesday. UK to give Ukraine 10 more self-propelled guns and barrage ammunition. Ukraine returned 44 children illegally taken to Russia and occupied territories. Ministry of Reintegration. Most of the returned children are orphans or children deprived of parental care. Air raid in many areas of the country. My mom said that there was one in Lviv today as well. I talked to her earlier. Lack of air defense around Kharkiv is a myth. Head of the army, Oleksiy Nahubov. Some of the missiles flying at the city shoot down air defense, but no one knows how many missiles are actually flying at Kharkiv. Also, according to Nahubov, air defense is working, so enemy planes and attack helicopters no longer fly over Kharkiv. Flooded streets, yards, and gardens in Dumer. Today in the village of the Kyiv region, water still continues to stand. Local residents pump out water using pumps on their own. The local authorities have also installed 2 large water pumps, but unfortunately this is not enough. The meadows of the village have turned into lakes, and the groundwater level does not drop. And because of this, not a single well can be used in the village. Recall that the dam near the Midov was blown up at the end of February by the Ukrainian military. Thus, it was possible to stop the attack of the Russians on Kyiv from Chernobyl. So here's what that looks like. Areas are completely flooded. Hi, Rosie. Hi, John. Yep. Where to get a real, legit live news straight from the front line of Ukraine's side? That's what I'm getting. There are 3 strikes of missiles in the Khmelnytsky region. Explosions are reported in Kharkiv region. 3 missiles flew in. According to preliminary data, 2 of them were intercepted by our air defense. Ukrainian armed forces shot down 3 enemy missiles tonight. The air defense units of the PVK West shot down 3 enemy missiles, which the invaders fired from the Black Sea around 8 p.m. Kyiv time. Today, Russians fired 4 missiles at the Khmelnytsky region. The head of the army, Serhiy Hamalin. 1 rocket was shot down by the air defense forces. The wreckage collapsed in the territory of the Shepatovka district. 3 other rockets hit the territory of one of the communities of the Khmelnytsky region. Russians destroyed the Korabelny House of Culture in Mykolaiv with a rocket today. The photo of the destroyed building was shown by the Department of Culture, Nationalities, and Religions of the Mykolaiv Regional State Administration. How many generations of creative, gifted children and adults have visited the Korabelny Palace of Culture, not only as visitors, but also as participants in the creative process? How many events, competitions, projects, programs, we won't forget, commented the management. Here is what that looks like today. This is what the Palace of Culture looks like today. And this is what the Palace of Culture looked like before. The aftermath of today's shelling of Slovyansk. The strike of the Russian army fell on the central market of Slovyansk. At least 2 people died and 7 were injured. Here are some videos. Some of them are graphic.
Да, неожиданно. Мы уходили домой, все нормально, все это да. Все. И были эту женщину знаете? Нет, это вот товарищ знает, на рынке торгует. Вот это все. Больше погибших не видели? Я не знаю, нет. С нашей стороны никого. Мы слышали, что кричали, но мы не выходили. Мы стояли, этот самый, закончили прилет, и потом пришли сюда. Помоги ему!
Hi, Charlie. Hey guys, say hi to Charlie. Charlie is a friend of mine who went to Ukraine a while ago. I think a lot of you have heard about him, and he was there for a month and a half, almost 2 months, and he has done a tremendous amount of work helping out people on the front lines, bringing medication. He's one of the co-founders of Mission Kharkiv, which is a charitable organization that aims to bring medication relief to Kharkiv. The nighttime combat work of the high-precision HIMARS against different targets simultaneously, Zaporizhia direction. Charlie, Eugenia on YouTube is saying, hi, Charlie, thank you for your help to our people, because I'm also streaming on YouTube simultaneously. The main battle for Ukraine will be in the south of the country, Sky News. I think that this taking the Luhansk region as a tactical victory for Russia, for which they had to pay a huge price. It took 60 days to make very slow progress. I think that the Russians may declare some kind of victory, but the key military battle is yet to come, said Neil Melvin, a military expert at the think tank of the Royal Joint Institute of the Armed Forces of Great Britain, writes Sky News. According to him, the decisive battle for Ukraine is likely to take place not in the east, when Russia strikes the main blow, but in the south, where Ukraine launched a counteroffensive to retake the territory. It is here that we see that the Ukrainians are advancing around Kherson. Counterattacks are starting there, and I think we will most likely see the momentum shift to Ukraine as it then tries to launch a large-scale counteroffensive to push back the Russians, Melvin said. And this is all the news that I have today about Ukraine. So yeah, we can hang out a little bit. And if you guys, normally we do, I don't know if there are any people that aren't here usually. If you are not here usually, hi, I'm Yulia. I do the news about Ukraine every day at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. On the weekends now, we're going to be doing them at around noon. Today we did it earlier because I'm waiting for a special kind of package to arrive tomorrow, and I have to prepare for it. And basically, if you don't follow me, please consider giving me a follow. I do have a lot of very useful information on my page, and I continuously update it. I am working on a new schedule a little bit, so I'm going to be posting that soon. And basically, yes, the way that we usually do this, we hang out, then I do the news, and then we do Q&A, and then we hang out a little more. So please let me know if you have any questions about Ukraine, or anything that's happening in Ukraine, or anything pertaining to the war, or anything pertaining to culture, history, or anything like that. Please drop them in the Q&A, and I will get to them as soon as possible. The Q&A here, usually we try to address them at the end of the stream, and then we hang out a little bit. So let me know if there's anything that interests you. My parents are in Ukraine, not in the United States, and they always have been and always will be, hopefully, and hopefully in safety soon. And my mom is trying to get an American visa so she can come and visit me for like a month, which would be amazing. And I would be really grateful for that. And then you would get a lot of mom. You would be seeing a lot of mom. And mom will probably want to go somewhere like Miami because she likes to be warm. And she likes driving. So, you know, she does like to have her driving. Right? I'm so excited. I'm so excited for mom to be here. My parents can communicate with me live. Well, yes, they can because they have phones. Yay, we would love a lot of mom. My real name is Yulia, which is Yulia. But I spell it as Yewleea because when I write it as Yulia, people often read it as Yulia or Yulia or something weird. So I just came up with this transcription, and this has been the name that thank you, that I've been using since like college, since I started getting like freelance jobs and stuff like that, because this is basically my like brand name for design. But yeah, Yulia is my name. It's just spelled as Yulia. No, my father is not allowed to come into US because he's under 60 and we talk every day. I really love my dad. My dad is the parent I'm closer to and I really miss him. And then there was something else. What's going on with grandma? I don't know yet what's going on with grandma. Grandma really doesn't want to fly. That's grandma's issue, but there's quite a few family members that are trying to visit me, and you know what? The more the merrier. The more family members want to visit me, the merrier. I would really love to have more family members visit. Honestly, like if I could, I would just redo the other room into the guest room too, and just had family members come as they go and just. But you know. No, my dad is not in the front line. My dad is not drafted, but he could be. But yeah, I'm just really excited to have more family members arrive and more family members be here. You know, I miss them. I miss them a lot. Yeah, I hope so too. Thank you. It's take for family to get a visa to come see you. So well, my grandmother has a visa still. She has a 10-year visa that hasn't expired yet. And my mom she would be getting a visa. And like a month probably to process everything. So yeah. Also, guys, I'm going to go show Cine. So I'm going to end the YouTube. Thank you for hanging out here. I will stay on TikTok for a while. But I'll end the YouTube just because I need to move towards Cine and I can't bring YouTube with me. So, you know. Alrighty, guys. Bye. I hope so too. Thank you for hanging out. Bye, guys.